Point one of the most horrifying real-life jungle survival stories comes from the Amazon rainforest, and it involves the harrowing experience of Yossi Ginsberg, an Israeli backpacker who got lost in the jungle with two friends and a guide in 1981. Yossi, along with his two friends, Kevin and Marcus, had been traveling through the Amazon in search of adventure. They hired a local guide named Carl to lead them through the dense, treacherous forest. However, things took a turn for the worse when Carl, the guide, made a series of dangerous mistakes. The group got lost after a boat ride and found themselves deep in the uncharted regions of the rainforest, miles from civilization. The first sign of trouble came when Carl decided to take the group on a raft down a remote river that was far too dangerous. The raft capsized, and the group was forced to swim for their lives. But the worst was yet to come. After the accident, they became increasingly disoriented and lost in the jungle. Eventually, the group split up in hopes of finding a way out. Yossi and Kevin became separated from Marcus and Carl, leaving them alone in the terrifying vastness of the Amazon. In the days that followed, Yossi's situation turned grim. He was alone and struggling to survive, with limited food and water. The dense jungle, which seemed so inviting at first, became a place of constant threats. There were jaguars, poisonous snakes, and insects that thrived in the thick foliage. Each day brought a new wave of terror. His mind began to break under the stress of hunger, thirst, and fear. The forest seemed to close in on him as the relentless heat and humidity drained him physically and mentally. Yossi had some basic survival skills, but nothing could prepare him for the horrors he encountered in the wild. His feet became infected with sores, and he was forced to drink contaminated water from streams, which made him violently ill. He was stalked by jaguars and other dangerous animals, and the constant sounds of predators in the jungle only added to his growing paranoia. He was terrified that he would never be found. Days turned into weeks. Yossi's mental and physical condition worsened. He started hallucinating, his body slowly breaking down from lack of food and water. The once vibrant jungle that had held so much promise of adventure now seemed like a nightmarish labyrinth with no escape. His hope began to fade, and he thought he was going to die in the jungle alone. But against all odds, Yossi didn't give up. After 3 weeks of being lost, he stumbled upon a small indigenous village. The villagers took him in, nursed him back to health, and finally helped him return to civilization. Yossi's survival story made headlines around the world, but the scars of his experience would stay with him forever. The mental toll of being isolated in the jungle, where every moment felt like a battle against death, haunted him for years. Yossi's tale is a stark reminder of the Amazon's terrifying power, a vast and unforgiving place where nature rules, and humans are vulnerable to its countless dangers. His survival against such overwhelming odds has since been shared in books, documentaries, and films, but it remains one of the most disturbing and incredible survival stories to ever come from the jungle.